If you're American, you must be rich.
Wow.
The movie starts with a school bully confronting a new boy, thinking he's rich because he's from America. The bully demands money, saying, "If you're American, you must be rich."
If you're American, you must be rich.
Wow.
But the boy refuses and starts planning his revenge. His sister, who also goes to the school, offers to help, but the boy says he's already gathering information on everyone. The boy, Warren, explains his plan. The guy with the cap is the rugby team captain. He'd do anything for good grades in math. The engineer's son is the only one who can get the stuff I need. 2 weeks before a tough exam, Warren gives the top student some rare collectible cards in exchange for the exam answers. He passes these answers to a big, strong boy and asks him to deal with the bully. But one person's strength isn't enough. Warren fakes an injury, sneaks into the school clinic, and steals pills to help some athletes pass their physical tests. After they succeed, he gets them to help confront the bully and his gang. The fight ends with the big boy delivering a powerful punch to the bully. Warren comes from a gangster family. His dad, Fred Blake, is a feared mafia boss, and his mom, Maggie, is also involved in the mafia. They move to escape enemies who are after them because Fred betrayed a rival, Don Luches, by turning him in to the police. Luches' gang has been hunting them ever since, with a $2 million bounty on their heads. In Italy, a hitman named Rocco accidentally kills the wrong family, thinking they are the Blakes. He even sends the father's severed finger to Luches, who realizes the mistake and orders Rocco to keep looking for the real Blakes. Meanwhile, the real Blake family has relocated to Normandy, France, under the FBI's Witness Protection Program. They arrive at their new home late at night. After restoring power and starting a fire for warmth, Fred buries a body stashed in their car's trunk. The next morning, Maggie ventures into town but is disheartened when a waitress at a cafe confirms the town has little to offer. In a convenience store, Maggie overhears the clerk and customers insulting Americans in French, assuming she doesn't understand. Furious, she grabs bottles of wine and a gasoline can, tosses them into the stockroom, and lights a match. She pays for her groceries and leaves just before the explosion. Fred, meanwhile, retrieves an old typewriter from the garden shed, deciding to write a memoir about his rise to power. Later, FBI agent Robert Stansfield visits the family, warning Fred not to cause trouble. Fred denies involvement in the recent disappearance of a shopkeeper, but in reality he killed the man for selling frozen seafood falsely advertised as fresh, the same body he buried earlier. Bill and Warren start at their new school. Warren quickly manipulates his peers, gathering allies through favors and bribes. Belle, meanwhile, deals with a group of boys who try to harass her. She later meets a handsome substitute math teacher and devises a plan to win his attention by requesting private lessons. As the weekend approaches, the family hosts a barbecue to integrate with their neighbors. Despite initial reluctance, the event is a success, with the neighbors enjoying the quirky American food. Fred remains in the garden shed, reflecting on his life and regretting the dangers he's brought upon his family. Belle reassures him, saying she considers him the best father in the world despite everything.
Dad, you're the best dad anybody could ever ask for.
Feeling much better now, Fred joins the party. However, when the neighbors attempt to teach him how to start a fire, he grows angry. In his mind, he imagines various ways to torment them for their rudeness. Fortunately, he is interrupted by Stansfield, who has just arrived. The two speak privately, with Stansfield informing Fred that people in the White House are concerned about the book he is writing, as it could cause trouble for many. Fred assures him that the book is for personal reflection, and he has no plans to publish it. He also points out that his testimony against Luches is the best advertisement the FBI has ever had, as more former members of Fred's old mafia crew continue to come forward, seeking protection in exchange for safer lives. As the party winds down, Belle feels disappointed that Henri hasn't shown up. The next day, Fred visits the mayor about the brown water issue.
So, you see, as I told you, the tests show the water is fine.
But my water comes out brown when I turn on the faucet.
Perhaps your plumbing is a little bit on the old side, quite simply.
Well, what about the sewage plant I heard about?
It's almost brand new. Go and see for yourself.
And Fred imagines beating him up before leaving the office without causing trouble. He then goes to the water company, where a worker confirms the reservoir water is filthy and suggests the local fertilizer plant as the likely culprit. There aren't 50 fertilizer factories around here, just one, the worker says. Fred visits the plant, where the rude and helpless owner admits to the pollution after Fred ties him up and drags him along the road. The owner reveals that the turbine at the plant is the key to stopping the contamination.
The turbine.
The turbine?
Yes, the pumps. Stop it.
Where is this turbine?
Next tank. Number 5.
Armed with this information, Fred leaves the man and his bike in the middle of the road with a warning. Returning home, Fred finds Stansfield reading his manuscript. Stansfield admits he likes it but reprimands Fred for writing it in the first place. Meanwhile, Maggie continues her visits to the church, where the priest assures her that her confessions are confidential. However, what she reveals is so disturbing that it troubles the priest for a week, ultimately leading him to ban her from entering the church again. Your family is the incarnation of evil in this holy place. For the love of God, stay away, he declares. At school, Warren forgets to write his promised article for the school newspaper. With only 5 minutes left, he quotes a line from a song he heard as a child. If it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. The newspaper circulates widely, even being used as wrapping paper, which is how it ends up in Luch's prison cell. Luch's immediately recognizes the line and sends men to Normandy to track down Fred once and for all. After school, Belle visits Henri at his place. Locking the door behind her, they end up leaning against it. That evening, Fred receives a call from a neighbor who attended the barbecue, inviting him to a monthly movie night organized by the community. They plan to screen a classic American film and hope Fred can guide the discussion, given his expertise as a writer. Fred agrees, but Stansfield arrives minutes later, warning him it's a terrible idea since the FBI monitors all his calls. Fred disagrees, believing it's a good way to show they're fitting in, and convinces Stansfield to join him for the event. The next day, Warren's violent and criminal activities are discovered by the school board. Facing expulsion, he rushes home to grab money and forge documents to escape to Paris, where he plans to start his own business, just like his father did at 13. Before leaving, he says goodbye to Belle, who is heartbroken over Henri.
You never cease to amaze me.
Yeah. Those are Mom's pearls.
Yeah?
Where are you going?
To be with the man that I love?
Cool.
Take care of yourself, okay?
Yeah.
Fred places a doll in his seat to trick the FBI into thinking he's at home, and sneaks out to plant a bomb on the turbine, turning the water brown. Afterward, he meets Stansfield, and they both attend the movie night. They discover the film is Goodfellas. Stansfield believes the choice is disastrous, but Fred argues leaving before the movie starts would be suspicious. After the film, Fred is asked to share how accurately it portrays life in New York. Unable to resist, he recounts his experiences as a mafia boss. The audience assumes the stories are fabricated, but Stansfield is furious, believing Fred has lost control. He calls Chico and Mimo to initiate Plan B. Meanwhile, at the train station, Warren sees mafia hitmen arriving in town. He quickly rushes home to warn his family. At the same time, Belle, upset over her heartbreak with Henri, considers ending her life. Before she can act, the hitmen interrupt her, forcing her to flee. She and Warren reunite and try to alert their parents. The hitmen attack the police station, killing everyone there to find Fred's address. They also slash the fire truck's tires to stop any rescue. Maggie, along with Chico and Mimo, goes out looking for the kids but sees the hitmen and runs back home. Just then, Fred's hidden bomb goes off at the movie theater, giving him an alibi. The hitmen storm the Blake's house, killing neighbors who come outside. Fred, warned by their dog Malavita, hides in the garden to avoid being shot. Maggie tries to protect the family but gets cornered. Fred surprises one of the attackers and strangles him, while Maggie finishes him off with a knife. Warren and Belle steal weapons from the hitman's car and fight back, taking out most of the attackers. Only Rocco survives. Warren collapses from the gun's recoil and Belle tries to run, but Rocco chases her. Before he can harm her, Stansfield appears and crashes his car into the hitman, saving her. The family survives, but their cover is blown. They are forced to move again and take on new identities. As they leave, Fred reflects that telling their story, even if made up, was worth it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.